So peace to all the house of Israel. Peace to all of those who have joined themselves to this covenant by the blood of Mashiach. Peace to all of those who are in distress, who are hurting, who are in certain situations, bad situations. It's the power of the gospel. Peace to all those who are suffering right now. People dealing with sicknesses, people dealing with loss of family, people that are dealing with the word, fighting the word. Peace to all of you. It's the power of the gospel that can make all things straight in your life. But with that being said, we'll get started today. Today, Israel, between a rock and a hard place, when the nations go to war. When I was growing up, I used to hear that phrase. My mama would say that. My grandmama would say stuff like that, stuck between a rock and a hard place. And hopefully, if we've noticed, when we've been going through for this Feast of Dedication, certain things that transpired while the Israelites were under the different oppressions, whether it was the Seleucids or the Ptolemies, and going back and forth. But once they, the scenarios that they kept finding themselves in, you could say, man, we're stuck between a rock and a hard place. What do you do when everyone around you is at war? You're your own individual country, and all the countries around you are going to war. What do you do? And if you haven't heard, there's a saying, to the victor goes the spoils. When it comes to history, the victor gets to write history, right? So, the Israelites in this season, years and years and years ago, were in a rock and a hard place. We're going to look at that today. And as we talked about last night, about this festival of dedication, the Chanukah being a training ground for us. So we kind of get an insight of what it's like when the nations are going to war around us, and that Yah still has the same expectation. You are not allowed to change your walk with Him, that you must stay in the confines of the covenant, that you must find yourself obedient, as we saw with some, obedient till death. Too tick. Or just somebody push the button. I already know if I push the button. It's probably my fault. I put the mic in there. No, the mic rolled the phone. Yeah. That thing's strong, man. That thing shoot wire. It shoot this signal through wood. Locked up on this side, that thing's strong. Strong signal. Anyway. But we see where or how we're supposed to be. We're gonna look at that today. Because we're going to find ourselves in the exact same scenario. We're going to find ourselves in the exact same scenario. We're going to be stuck in a rock and a hard place when the nations are going to war. I found this cool little cover here. Figured the boys would like it. That's actually a video game. It's a video game cover. So they're making video games about World War III. I got a book at home called The Third World War. I got some other books where they talk about, and as well, we talked to y'all about things about this stuff, about engineering the Third War based off of religion. So, we'll continue. So as the nations go to war, right, these things will take place. All right, the destruction, the things that happen with war. Once again, when these things take place, you get to come in and then you get to fix things, right? We go to war in Iraq, right? And then what happens? We have to now fix Iraq, right? We go to war place and then you got to fix it.
Yep.
So war opens up the door, right? Amos 9th chapter. Amos 9th chapter. Amos 9:1. And I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, smite the lintel of the door, that the posts may shake, and cut them in the head, all of them. And I will slay the last of them with the sword. He that fleeth of them shall not flee away, and he that escapeth of them shall not be delivered. Though they dig into hell, thence shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down. You know what that means? Ain't anywhere to run. Ain't anywhere to hide. I don't care what you do. And though they hide themselves at the top of Carmel, I will search and take them out of thence. And though they be hid from my sight in the bottom of the sea, thence I will command the serpent, and he shall bite them. And though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil and not for good. And the Lord God of hosts is he that toucheth the land, and it shall melt. And all that dwell therein shall mourn, and all that dwell therein shall mourn. It shall rise up wholly like a flood. It shall be drowned as by the flood of Egypt. It is he that buildeth his stories in the heaven, and hath founded his troop in the earth. He that calleth for the waters of the sea, and poureth them upon the face of the earth. The Lord is his name. Okay, so we said a couple of days ago that Yah is a man of what?
War.
Man of war. Okay, and we talked about what makes Pesach Pesach is that Yah went to war. Something about the Chanukah, that there was a lot of war. Verse 7, are you not as the children of the Cushites unto me, or children of Israel, saith the Lord? Have not I brought up Israel out of the land of Egypt, and the Philistines from Caphtor, and the Syrians from Ker? Behold, the eyes of the Lord God are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, saith the Lord. He said that he will what? His eyes are upon the sinful kingdom. Right? So if the Israelites are scattered everywhere, and if they're in nations, and the nation's time is up, or their time's on the clock, and he's like, all right, it's time to deal with them. Well, those who are of that literal bloodline, or who have committed themselves to Mashiach, you have a standard. Like the standard we've been going over the last couple of days. I don't give a hoot what's going on around here.
Amen.
Keep your temple right.
Amen.
Defend it with your last breath. If so, there's a hedge around it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, there'll be hell to pay.
Okay.
Real simple.
Yes, sir.
Real simple. Like, it'll happen, like, this how, that's why you gotta get that Western mess out your mind. Ain't no fairy coming to help you. You ain't floating away. You're going to have to deal with what's in front of you. If there's any help, we know how you get help from above. You got to be walking a certain way, though. Say that prayer and get answered. Verse 9, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in the sieve. Yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. All the sinners of my people, all the sinners of my people, all the sinners of my people. See, we don't like that dude. You're talking about sin. Start attaching it to you, sinner. Plural group, sinners. Right? All the sinners of my people shall die by the sword. Which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Right? So all the people who are of Yah, who are wrapped up in certain lifestyles, have a mentality that won't nothing happen to us. You go forward to our time, right? We're the tech geeks, right? We're the Google geeks, right? We're the information highway geeks, right? We got answers to everything. We know everything, right? So these things won't fall upon us. For every scenario, I got a way out.
Come on.
Every scenario I got away. So the evil, right? The evil shall not overtake nor prevent us. Verse 11, in that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen. He said he's going to raise it up. And choose up and close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up his ruins, and I will build it as in the days of old. That they may possess the remnant of Edom, and all the heathen which are called by my name, saith the Lord that doeth this. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, him that soweth seed, and the mountains shall drop sweet wine, and all the hills shall melt, and I will bring the captivity of my people of Israel. And they shall build the waste cities, and inhabit them. They shall plant vineyards, and drink the wine thereof. They shall also make gardens, and eat the fruit of them. And I will plant them upon their land, that there shall be no more pulled up out of their land, which I have given them, saith the Lord thy God. So a lot of this we're still waiting to transpire, right? We're waiting for a lot of this to transpire. Now we're going to hone in on Amos 9, 8 through 9. Okay? And it read, behold, the eyes of the Lord, I got to put on the screen for you, are upon the sinful kingdom, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Yaakov, saith the Lord. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all the nations. How many nations?
Oh.
Oh, okay. Like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. So I will sift the house of Israel, as highlighted. We look in the 9th verse in the Hebrew, not the top line, but the second line. We have Kihane, Anoki, Matzve, Vahani Oti, Vahani Oti, Bachol Hagoyim. Okay? So, and the sift in all nations. So, when I was looking at this, we had talked about here lately about when we see when a word is referencing something that has not been, is imperfect, is not done yet, we'll see something in the front. Right? We'll see a tav or a yod or certain letters. But if you look at the first letter highlighted in Hebrew, what do you see? Vav. And vav means what? And. When you see the hey, what does that mean? The. So now, and the sift, or I sifted. So when we look at it in English, it says I will, as if it hadn't done it yet. When you look at it in Hebrew, already done. You just got translated wrong. I ain't saying they try to do that to try to trick nobody. I'm just saying that. Yeah. You know, I mean, so this is why we study while we study. So I had to go in my books. I get questions. I have to go pull my books out. I got study books, and I got to go pull them out and make sure that we're sure. Okay. So when we see that tav and the yod at the end, this is something that is in a perfect tense. Is in this has happened. Okay. And where did it happen? Bakal, in all Hagoyim, the nations. Okay, so Yah sifted. So he's like, no, so I sifted them. I sifted them in all the nations. Okay, but he knows where they are. He knows. The most important thing is he knows where they are. So what does sift mean? Let's look at sift. Sift. What's that in Hebrew? What does that say? Nuah. Nuah. We got a child root. It's an action verb. Okay, nuah. To quiver, totter, shake, reel, stagger, wander, move, sift, make move, wave, waver, tremble, to move to and fro, to vacillate. Did I pronounce that right?
Vacillate.
That's why I got smart people in here. Vacillate. Come on, I'm like my baby, but one to put S there. Because I connected to Vaseline. You throw the C there, I'm thinking vacuum. Huh? Anyway, to move to and fro, to vacillate. So we got wander, wave, waver, right? Who knows what vacillate means?
I don't know.
I asked the panda. Panda said, I don't know. He put his head on the stomach. I don't know. Vacillate. We got one in here that know what vacillate mean. Okay? Miriam says, see, look, they done messed up. Look, my wife and show them how to snip now. Know them how to cut and snip. They're messed up. And shout out to Rebirth of a Nation. Brother Josh sent me how to do some stuff for Bible studies. I'm excited about that. I'm going to have my wife do it, though. Anyway. But, so, vacillate in transitive verb, to waver in the mind. Will or feeling, hesitate in choice of opinions or courses. To sway through the lack of the equilibrium. So Yah says that I'm going to sift you. You're going to be vacillating all over the earth. Wandering and staggering. Stumbling. And it's physical, but it's mainly what? Mental. You're going to be, he's going to vacillate you all throughout the nation.
Making up words, boy, go for it.
Huh? You're going to be, your mind is going to be falling. Help without pressure. Help, I'm falling, I can't get up. But that's what Yah says. He's going to, I'm going to sift you throughout all the nations. Now, I'm going to sift you good. Because he said, I'm going to do it. He said, I'm going to put my hand to it. This is going to be real good. So the house of Israel is wandering mentally everywhere. Indecisive. Not on the same page. It sounds familiar. So we've been talking about here lately, ain't it?
Yeah.
Right? So then we have in our New Testament, and people want to get rid of it, well, they're saying, hey, you need to have one mind.
Unsound doctrine.
Huh? You need to have a mind like him. Why? Because they knew what the text said. That your mind was going to be messed up.
Amen.
They knew it. They left this for you. For me. Because your mind is going to be messed up. Because someone said, I'm going to sift you. Just had a great breakdown of brain breakdown this morning. You can't go through trauma and then not get the right reparations you need and then be fine. He knew exactly what he was doing. Daniel 2. I'm going to be vacillated.
Vacillating, honey.
I mean, vacillated.
Come on.
I'm like my baby. What they got to see her there for?
Yes, Lord.
Vacuum. Daniel 2:21. Daniel 2:21. And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removes kings. He removes kings and sets up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. He removes kings and sets up kings. That means Yah is governing over everything. Not just Israelite matters. Okay? Romans 13:1. Romans 13:1. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of Elohim. The powers that be are ordained of Elohim. Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resist the ordinance of God, and that they resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Well, that's tough. To respect the laws of the land that you live in, to all you who are scattered. Right? Let's look what else it says. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. For he is the minister of Elohim to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid, for he beareth not the sword in vain. For he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil. So you cannot be slick and not get caught up. Okay? Can't be slick and get caught up. Romans 3:29. So we'll ask the question, is he the God of the Jews only, of the Yehudim only? Is he not also of the Goyim? Yes, of the Goyim also. So Daniel let us know that he sets up kings. He removes kings. Not just Israelite kings, but kings. He is very involved in human affairs. All for a specific purpose. Getting to the end line. Remember, it's a big chess game going on. Big chess game going on. Okay? Yah sits on the earth. The Gentiles, the nations, are still under his authority. Okay? When we say that, well, it's only talking to one group of people. So now we have alienated the humanity of humans. And that there is no head over the humans. Well, there is a head. He's just going to come and kill them all. You sound ridiculous. You sound ridiculous. You sound like somebody's teaching off emotion. You can't teach off emotion. You can't learn off emotions. We learned today. You daggum show can't teach off emotion. Put your feelings in your pockets. Stick to the Google facts. Will the descendants of Jacob do as they've been called? Somebody give me the Exodus 19:6, please. Where's my Rita? Rita! Rita! Oh, what's that, brother? Fixing some fiddles. Like in Exodus 19:6.
Yes, sir. Exodus 19:6.
Mm-hmm.
And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation.
You should be to him a.
Kingdom of priests
That's
and a
supposed to be
holy
the
nation.
job. The kingdom of priests and the holy nation. Go ahead.
These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel.
So, Yah told Moses to give the job description to all the people. That's your job description. Okay, that's your job description.
Amen.
You want to be Israelite? Read it again.
And you shall be to me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which you shall speak to the children of Israel.
And I know some said, well, that's that old covenant. What about the new? He said, let your light shine, didn't he?
Come on.
Isn't that what he said, let your light shine?
Come on.
So then we ain't going to find no difference between Exodus 19:6 and in Matthew 6. We ain't going to find no difference. Let the light shine. Somebody give me Isaiah 8:20 right quick. Isaiah 8:20. You want to say, you want to be a divider, you need to get out.
Isaiah 8:20.
Mm-hmm.
To the law and to the testimony.
To the who?
To the law and to the testimony.
Mm-hmm.
If they do not speak according to this word, it is because there is no light in them.
No what in them?
No light.
No light in them.
No light in them.
And then Exodus 19:6, we were told that the house of Israel to be a kingdom of priests to all of the earth.
Yes, sir.
Yahshua said, let your light so shine.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just want to make sure. No, I'm slow sometimes. The temple was where Yah was worshipped. And at certain times of the years, there was what we call a pilgrimage. Everybody would go to Jerusalem, right? That's why you see the opposite in Islam. Everyone goes to Mecca, right? I don't know the names of them, but people go to Mecca for certain feasts, and they're going around and they're bound, you know. So we see the copycat or the replica, okay? The temple was very, very important, as we've talked about last night, right? The temple was very important to the people. This was the creme de la creme. Okay? All right, John 2:21. John 2:21. John 2:21. I'm sorry. We're supposed to start. Starting 14. And found in the temple those that sold oxen and sheep and doves in the chambers of money sitting. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them. I wonder how long it took him. I wonder if he put his time into it to make it real tight. So like when I hit you, like I don't want it to come loose. Like I don't want it to come loose. I wonder because you know they were probably just sitting there doing what they were doing. He probably took his time, made that thing super tight. Anyway. And when he had made a scourge of small cords, he drove them all out of the temple. And the sheep, the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the tables. And said unto them that sold doves, take these things hence, make not my father's house a house of merchandise. And his disciples remembered that it was written, the zeal of thine house hath eaten me up. Then answered the Yehudim and said unto him, what sign showest thou unto us, seeing that thou doest these things? Yahshua answered and said unto him, destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up. Okay, and as we talked about last night, verse 20, then said the Yehudim, 46 years of this temple in building, and wilt thou rear it up in 3 days? But he spake of the temple of his body. So this was something that was new to the Yehudim, to consider your body as a temple when the temple's right there. The temple's right there. Remember how beautiful it is, how glorious it is. And the temple's right there. It's right there. This would be something new, kind of foreign to them. Okay, but divine. Because he only spoke what? What his father told him to speak. Okay? 1 Corinthians 3. First Corinthians 3:17. If any man defile the temple of Elohim, him shall Yah destroy. For the temple of Elohim is holy. Which temple are ye? What temple are you? A defiled temple or undefiled temple? A temple of Yah or a temple of Baalim? Which one? So we have the new Babylonian system that is supported by the what? By the beast we talked about last month and a half or so. The beast that supports the new Babylonian system. Right? And I'm not saying that there's not a city, but if we want to try to pinpoint a specific place to say, hey, Yah's gonna burn it down. Okay, yeah, spend your time on that. But there is a system. There is a system. The New England Patriots, they be having dudes you wouldn't even know. But they have a system. They run a tight system. This Babylonian system is mysterious. It's almost, you can't even penetrate it. Mike Tyson, the boxer, once said, my defense is impregnable. My defense is impregnable. You're like, you can't get through this. So this new Babylonian system, it's deep, it has different dimensions. We just made a reference to the temple and then making a pilgrimage to Jerusalem. But then if you look at Islam, you make a pilgrimage to Mecca. Are you meaning to tell me that all these thousands to millions of people that go to Mecca, to Saudi Arabia, that's not a part of this system? That's not a branch in the system? I know you want to blow up New York. So we're talking about the system. So this system is supported by the beast. The beast had how many heads? 7 heads. And it had how many horns?
10.
10 horns. 10 horns represent 10 kingdoms, 10 nations, 10 prominent bloodline families. Who knows? A lot of options out there. Okay? But this Babylonian system, supported by the beast, with 7 heads and 10 horns, they want to mark your temple. They want all of humanity to have a mark on the temple. Right? We know it in Revelation as what? The mark of the beast. So we're supposed to mark the gates of our doors, the gates of our house, right, with the mezuzah. And then the other side wants to mark your temple with a mark of the beast. So apparently, even the bad guys know that your body is a temple. And that if your temple has been deemed defiled, that the Almighty will do what? Tear it down. We just read that in 1 Corinthians 3:17. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. Huh? Oh, we're paying attention. If any man defile the temple of God, him shall God destroy. For the temple of God is holy. Which temple are ye? So if we give ourselves over to this system and we mark our temple, it must be destroyed. 2 Kings 24. 2 Kings 24. I told you, so, look, it's some big boy chess going on now. Some big boy chess going on. And the Lord sent against him bands of the Chaldees, bands of the Syrians, bands of the Moabites, bands of the children of Ammon, and sent them against Judah to destroy it, according to the word of the Lord, which he spake by his servants the prophets. Surely if the commandment of the Lord came this upon Judah, to remove them out of the sight for the sins of Manasseh, according to all that he did, and also for the innocent blood that he shed, and for he filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, which the Lord would not pardon. Okay, we scroll over. We just read that Yah sent them. We get to 2 Kings 25, verse 6. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon, to Riblah, and they gave judgment unto him. And they slew the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, and then put out the eyes of Zedekiah, and bound him with fetters of brass, and carried him to Babylon. In the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which is the 19th year of the king of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, came Nebuzaradan, captain of the guard, a servant of the king of Babylon to Jerusalem. He burnt the house of the Lord. He burnt the house of the Lord. He burnt the house of the Lord. Who sent him? Yah did. So Yah will burn his own temple to prove a point. So new believers in this new way back to Yah, their temple's not there no more.
Right.
We're going to take a different route, humanity. You be my temple. What's coming out of you? And I tell you what, you have a bad temper you want to. Whatever was written aforetime, or was written for my learning, with comfort and the patience of the scriptures, I might have hope. So don't let my temple get marked. Guard my temple. No pollution. Huh? He burnt the house of the Lord and the king's house, and in all the house of Jerusalem, and every great man's house burning with fire. So not only did he burn the temple, he said, all you done got this nice, cars and clothes, money and, all the stuff you got, burn it up! You look, that's personal. You done kill my kids, and you gonna poke my eyes out. Why don't you just kill them? Personal. But see, y'all ain't playing. Luke 19. We're just looking at some passages where Yah destroyed, where he sent others to destroy. Physical temples. All the temples. I'll tear it up myself. If you ain't gonna act right. Luke 19:39. He said, you ain't gonna act right, I'll tear it up myself. So that means for you, us and our body, you ain't gonna act right, I'll tear it up myself. I'll tear it down myself. And look at this one here. Luke 19:39. And some of the Pharisees from among the multitude said unto him, Master, rebuke thy disciples. And he answered and said unto them, I tell you that if these should hold their peace, the stones would immediately cry out. And when he was come near, he beheld the city and wept over it. He was crying over the city, saying, if thou hadst known, even thou at least in this day, the things which belong unto thy peace, but now they hid from thine eyes. We were talking about that. We was eating lunch today. That people have something in them where they want to do right. They're pulling them to do right. It's pulling you to serve. It's pulling you to break apart, to come out of Babylon, to don't do this, don't worry about the grit, don't worry about these things, don't worry about talking about it. It's trying to pull you out, and then we were crying and we're all emotional. And then when that emotional roller coaster comes back down, we get off, and then we go on about our business. And then when there's a time where Yah don't pull on you no more.
Man.
When he ain't pulling, when your conscience, when ain't nothing bothering your conscience, your conscience is free, baby. Don't worry about it. Your conscience free, baby. Do what you do. Enjoy it while you got it. Enjoy it while you got it. You free. Do what you do. I done pulled at you. I done pulled at you. I done hit deep parts of your soul. You couldn't even stand up, you're crying so hard. But you know what? It's not enough. It just didn't work. I got to fire you before I even hire you. I got to fire you before I even hire you.
Man.
You're supposed to be on. You're supposed to be employed. You're supposed to be drawing the check. Getting insurance is called the hedge of protection. But it just right behind.
Well.
So if thou had known, even thou at least in this day, the things which come, which belong unto thy peace, but now they hear from y'all, now I gotta take it away from you. And you can't say I ain't do my best. I did. I held my part of the deal.
Yes, sir.
And you knew it was me. For the day shall come upon thee that thine enemy shall cast a trench about thee and compass. So he break down what they do with tears in his eye. They don't understand. And compass thee round and keep thee in on every side. And they shall lay even with thee the ground and the children within thee. They shall not leave thee in the one stone upon another. You won't believe this. What Cephas was tight with Yahshua, what? He was super tight.
Yeah.
You know what Cephas called you in his scriptures? He left you. You won't believe what he called you. He called you a lively stone. And he said the time of the visitation, when they come, they're going to tear down. It won't even be one stone left on top of each other. Now you think about all the people in all the world that have confessed and joined themselves to Yeshua HaMashiach. I don't care if it's Sunday, Saturday, Seventh-day Adventist, Israelite, I don't care. Think of all the people, think of all them lively stones. And at the time of visitation, how the temples will be torn down to pieces. But we're not conscious. He left it in the book. We got to say it 10 times every message. Whatsoever things are written 4 times, it's written for your learning. Because at some point, the visitation is coming. And where's the darkness going to come? For the temple. Now, at some point in time, some temples will have a mark on them. And that visitation, I'm going to pass over you. But you won't believe this. You got a cup to drink. It's called the wrath of Elohim. And your behind going to drink every last drop. It's going to be so good, you want to die. He was like, get up, get up, get up, get up. And he going to try to die. Get up, get up, get up. Drink it, take this mess.
Cast on. The very dreams.
So will not leave a stone upon another, because thou knew not the time of thy visitation. In the midst of war, okay, if they went through things in the midst of war, like real war, right, not spiritual war, like real actual war, we will be no different. Right, so it's just things we just have to face and understand. All right, can somebody give me Daniel 8:8, please? Daniel 8:8. Somebody give me Daniel 11:5.
Daniel 8:8.
Yes, sir.
And the male goat became very great,
Uh-huh.
but when he was strong, the large horn was broken, and in place of it, 4 conspicuous ones came up toward the 4 winds of the heavens.
Toward the 4 who?
Winds of the heavens.
Okay. That's it? Okay, thank you. All right, so we had this big horn, right? We talked about that last night, being Alexander the Great, the first king of Persia, the first king of Greece, excuse me, as we talked about last night. And it was broken up into 4 smaller pieces to the 4 winds of heaven, right? The 4 directions of heaven. All right, so I have up here on the screen for you. One of them was Cassander, okay, of Macedonia and the Grecian Peninsula. Okay, then we have, I can never say his name right, Antigonus, Anatolia, which is Turkey, and then Asia Minor. So in your Apocrypha, you'll probably see the name Lysimus, whatever, in 1st and 2nd Maccabees. And then we have Seleucus, right? There's the Seleucid empires, where Antiochus them come from. Mesopotamia, India. And then we have Ptolemy, which was of Egypt. Okay, Egypt. And then something to whoever has 11:5, Daniel 11:5, go ahead and read that.
And the king of the south shall be strong, and one of his princes, and he shall be strong above him, and have dominion. His dominion shall be a great dominion.
Okay, so the king of the south shall be, equal to the king of the south shall be
strong.
strong. Okay, so So the scripture is telling you about one person, the king of the south. He's going to be what? Strong. And then one of his what?
One of his princes.
So somebody who is under the king of the south will rise up and he'll be even stronger. Correct? Okay. So we have here Ptolemy, all right, of Egypt. He is the king of the south. He's the general that gets that territory. Now there's a person who was his lieutenant. I got to highlight it for you. Seleucus. Seleucus was a lieutenant under Ptolemy I, son of Lagus, a satrap of Mesopotamia. He was a governor. So Seleucus, who we have up above over Mesopotamia and India, Seleucus at first was a employee of Ptolemy. So in Daniel 11:5, we are told that the king of the south, he's strong, but he's got a prince up under him. So they're talking in a parable and in a riddle, and the prince who became strong was Seleucus, because the Antiochus comes from the what? Seleucid Empire. Okay, you follow me? Okay, Ptolemy was the king of the south. Seleucus was under him. That was his number one guy. Okay, if you scroll down in 315 BC, Antagonus drove out Seleucus the first. Okay, Seleucus the first, Nicator. Okay, in 312 BC. Ptolemy the first helps to defeat Antigonus and reinstated Seleucus. So I have highlighted for you, the king of the south, prince, became strong. That's how the Seleucus became to be. At first, he didn't get that. Somebody else had it. But they were fighting amongst each other. So the Seleucid Empire began, Nisan 1 in 311 BC.
Really?
So, and I think the if you go on YouTube, I think our Hanukkah, the Days of War, it should be on. We were doing YouTube last year, Mom. Okay. That we covered all of Daniel 11. We're not going. This is from the notes of Daniel. We're not going to really get on that, but I wanted just to give you some of that. We're not going to be on that today. But if you want to go back, it was Hanukkah, the Days of War, Part 2, where we really get into Daniel 11. And we kind of went through all that. You know, we might go through it again if it's deemed necessary. So everybody got that. So we kind of see Daniel 8:8, and then Daniel 11:5. The horns going to the four winds, and then we have the king of the south became strong, but the prince became even stronger. Okay, so I was talking to Sister Bev one day. She was talking about needing maps. Maps help you understand. So bam, maps. So we see the four directions. Okay, we see the four. So we see the Ptolemy, Seleucus, Ptolemy in green. See the Seleucus in yellow. Lysimachus, who took Antagonist's place, and then Cassander. So we have our four directions. Now, look at Israel. You see how close the Seleucid Empire and the Ptolemies are? So, right there in the middle. So remember yesterday I kept saying, it ain't got nothing to do with you, but it's about you. It ain't got nothing to do. Look, the king of Ptolemy and the king of Seleucus, they going hard on each other. It ain't got nothing to do with the people of Judah. But it got everything to do with the people of Judah. Hope y'all said the Syrian Wars. Okay, the Syrian Wars were 5 conflicts fought between the leading Hellenistic states. They're called Hellenistic states because of the Greeks, right? It was Hellenism. Chiefly the Seleucid kingdom and the Ptolemaic Egypt. In a lesser way, Macedonia, the complex and devious diplomacy. Very important, the complex and devious diplomacy that surrounded the wars was a characteristic of the Hellenistic monarchies. So if the world is in the hands of the Gentiles and waiting for the time to be fulfilled, what is something we should expect? Diplomacy, lying, cheating, maneuvering, kings, hustling, pimping, getting over, lying, media. We should expect that because Whatsoever was written aforetime is written for your learning. The main issue and dispute between the Seleucids and the Ptolemies was control of southern Syria. You won't believe what's going on right now. There's all kind of heat and action going on in where?
Yeah,
Syria. The world just goes round and round, baby. It goes round and round, baby. Don't worry about it. So the Judah is in the middle of these Syrian wars. So the Syrian Wars, about 274, 200 BCE. The first Syrian War, Antiochus I lost territory to Ptolemy II. So from that map, they lost territory. Okay. Then we have in 260 BC started the Second War. 246, 241, the Third Syrian War. I won't go into details. This, like I said, it's on that PowerPoint and it's on that message we did last year. 219 BC, Antiochus III launched the Fourth Syrian War. Okay, Antiochus III was also called Antiochus the Great. This is Antiochus IV daddy. This is his daddy. So Antiochus IV, Antiochus Epiphanes gets in because Antiochus III dies and he has his son who's in charge. He ends up getting in debt and going to jail in Rome and all kinds. So he kind of, and Epiphanes slipped in there, but the scripture talks about him getting in deceptively. Thank you. That's why I married that woman. She's smart and she's fine. And she's mine. I started rapping up here about her right now. Right in the middle of my message. 202 BC, the Fifth Syrian War. Okay, and Antiochus III gains control of Syria, Judea. Okay, some of these still look familiar. Panas, Caesarea Philippi. What we talk about during the feast about Caesarea Philippi and Mount Hermon, and that being the origin of Pan worship. Well, the Greeks had it, so that would make sense, and they kept on to it, you know. And Bacchanalian worship is high in America today and other places. So the Judeans, look at this and highlight it for you, welcomed in Antiochus III and looked to him as a savior. There was a big split on this because the Ptolemies were so bad, but so they were kind of, it just depended on who the king was. No different from us today. I love me some Bush. I love me some Clinton. I love me some Obama. I love me some Trump. I love some JFK. I love some Teddy Pendergrass. But we know whoever these people, whoever's up, who's ever up, people. So they were no different. They were no different. They just Teddy Pendergrass. Anyway.
Never mind.
But they were no different. Okay. That a lot of the Judeans took Antiochus III and the Seleucid Empire as help, savior. This is good. So now we kind of see why there was the shift to them wanting to do Hellenism and get Onias out of here, because you're gonna be like your daddy. So we read about his daddy. His daddy left him alone. One reason why his daddy left him alone, he's too busy fighting. He was a fighting man. Too busy fighting. So Judea, in the middle of all these wars, they were small military. They were very small, and they had no military impact on these 5 Syrian wars. It had nothing to do with it. But everything was about them. When it comes to Yah and his people, everything's about them. So as global conflicts increase, and they will, it ain't got nothing to do with you. It's got everything to do with you. That's heavy. You really think about it. You ain't gonna be mentioned. For some of us, when we look at these world leaders, you ain't gonna see nobody even resemble you. But it's about you. It's about those that walk this faith. Because we know that this fight, as we looked at on Wednesday night, was what? It's spiritual. The weapons of our warfare, they're not carnal. So there is an underhanded plot to get rid of you. Because Genesis 3:14-15, it was said that the woman's seed is put in enmity with the serpent's seed, and the woman's seed can crush the head of the serpent, but the serpent can bite your heel. And then when you fall, Because trust me, he's still biting at your heel. And don't forget, Yah has sifted you throughout all the nations. You don't think the adversary taking advantage of that? You're like, ooh, it's like you play a video game, you find a little extra bonus play. You play a Mario, and you go through them little tunnels, you got all them coins, you get them all, them put like a little bonus. See, a lot of times we can take stuff and make it to where people can understand.
Yeah.
We're just being willing to do it. So as long as they obeyed, they had a hedge. And we looked at Onias, they had a hedge, and then after Onias, they had no hedge. But there was some who were under, and they're just like, look, man, we know what's going on. It's because of our sin. And I'm going to die an honorable death. Right? Right? I'm going to die an honorable death because all this is falling on. They ain't got nothing to do with you. Look, they told the Grecians, they ain't got nothing to do with you. They told the Syrians, they ain't got nothing to do with you. We're in sin right now. We got to keep ourselves tight. But under Onias, they kept themselves tight. So what does that mean? In all this conflict and all this stuff going on, we're about to look at it. You need to keep yourself what? Tight. Keep your temper tight. Keep your house tight. Okay. Matthew 24:6, you shall hear wars and rumors of wars. See that you be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not. Ecclesiastes 3. Okay, the end is not. So and that should make sense, right? Because once they fought and reclaimed the temple, was it over? It was not over. Still fighting. They were still fighting. It's not. Look, it was not over. I like to say it all the time. We're like potting. When Kyle decided, I'm gonna go play with my coach on the butt of the rim. I'm gonna go play with my coach. I'm not gonna play with you, Bernie. I'm not a Birdie. I'm not gonna play with you, bro. Look, I don't want your shoes. I don't want this money. I'm gonna go do it the right way. I said, man, you think it's over? And this ain't over. Well, when we stand up and fight for the temple, it ain't over. You get yourself right with Yah. You start walking straight. It ain't over. It's not over. You've just begun to fight. So we hear of wars and rumors of wars. Be not troubled. All these things gotta come to pass because the end is not yet. So you gotta get through the wars. They had to go through 5 Syrian wars, 5 of them. 5. 74 years of war. That's a granddaddy, a daddy, and a son. I'll tell y'all Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes 3 and 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war, a time of peace. A time of war, time of war, time of war, time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth? I have seen a travail which God hath exercised, and the sons of men should be exercised in. He hath made everything beautiful in his time. The redemption of Yisrael will be beautiful in his time. And it's not going to be how we think. That's what makes it so good. When your spouse or somebody close to you do something for you, it's a complete surprise. That's awesome. Catch you off guard. Well, how you think Yahuwah gonna be? Gonna catch you off guard. It's not gonna be what you think. Joseph had no clue who was coming. He had no clue. They had no clue who was the king. They had no clue. Y'all worked it up perfectly. Can you imagine the love and the crying and the man? Can you imagine that scene? The angels rejoicing? Man, Israel saved in a foreign land. And y'all look, and y'all use y'all use leaders of foreign lands. He called it. That's why I said, look, he's not the God of the Gentiles too. Yeah, man, he bad now. Y'all roll everything. Anyway, he has made everything beautiful in his time. Also, he has set the world in their heart so that no man can find it out the work of Elohim. Make it from beginning to the end. That's why I like pull out absolutes on everything. That's tough when you do that because no man is from the beginning to the end. There's a specific plan that he's going to do. This makes it sweet. Surprise. I love it. Joel 3. Joel 3rd chapter. Joel 3:2. Well, first one. For behold, in those days and that time when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. Right? That's not going to be a friendly talk. Okay? That's not going to be the making. I'm boss some sugar. It's not going to be a friendly talk. So this has not happened yet. Right? So we're still waiting. But I tell you what, we see signs throughout the earth that lets you know that this is where we're headed. Okay? Joel 3:1-2. Some signs that are, we're going to look at that here in the second. Okay? Turn Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31. Jeremiah 31:10. And it reads, hear the word of the Lord, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles afar off, and say, he that scattereth Israel, he that scattered Israel, he that scattered Israel, Israel will gather him, and keep him as a shepherd doth his flocks. Mm-hmm. So he's going to come and gather. Not you. Amen. You being the author of your aliyah, or your return. He gonna do it. Why? Because I sent you out there. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna come get you. Mm-hmm. Now how I come get you, that's for you to neither see, hear, or know. But just know when it happened. He knows of the Lord. Mm-hmm. It's gonna be big. Too far. So 16, stir. Okay. What is that in Hebrew? What does that say? Or. Everybody saying that. Good job, Clay. Right? And that means to rouse oneself, awaken, incite. Let's turn to Isaiah 13:17. Isaiah 13:17. Y'all do something, y'all is very repetitive, because people are programmed a certain way, and he knows Isaiah 13:17, and he knows who to do things with or through. Isaiah 13:7, look, behold, I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver, and as for gold, they shall not delight in it. So he says he's going to stir up the Medes. He's going to stir them up, and he used the Medes against the Babylonians, right? He stirred them up, right? To rouse oneself, awaken, and sight. Okay, that's what he did. So he used the Medes to do something to Babylon in the past. Mm-hmm. And what was written the foretime was written for my
learning.
Okay, Jeremiah 51. Jeremiah 51 quickly. Jeremiah 51:11. Make bright the arrows, gather the shields. The Lord hath raised up the spirit of the kings of the Medes, for his device is against Babylon, to destroy it, because it is the vengeance of the Lord, the vengeance of his temple. So y'all's like, okay, yeah, y'all went in, y'all went hard in the mug, and y'all destroyed everything. You burned people out, and you burned down my temple. Now I gotta get you. So now, Babylon in the future sits on the beast, it sits on many waters, and this Babylonian system leads you to the mark of the beast. And guess who's going to have something to say about this Babylonian system? The king of the Medes. Mm-hmm. Whatever things written aforetime is written for your learning, through the comfort of the page of the scripture that you might have hope.
Yes, sir.
We talked about this a couple weeks ago, that in Jeremiah 50 and 51, some of it, Jeremiah, he peaked in the spirit, he's talking right to Babylon now, and then there's something that's like, whoa, where you going, brother? At a later time. Remember the acharit, the posterity of something, the end of something. And that latter, at another day. Not this, not that day, but another day. Don't worry about it. Your seed will find out about it. Jeremiah 51:28. Prepare against her the nations with the king of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of them. So the nations with the king of the Medes. You just said Goyim and the king of the Medes. So a whole bunch of people. Remember that the cover screen we had, that World War III. So now we see there must be another World War. It's necessary. And what festival is this right now?
Hanukkah.
Hanukkah. And we put the dedication of the altar and the fire and the light and all the good stuff. But we know around this festival there was a lot of what?
War.
You won't believe what happened the Sunday, 7 days before Hanukkah started. NBC News reports Russia attacks and seizes a Ukrainian vessel in the Black Sea of Crimea. One Ukrainian official called it an incident act of warmongering that undermines security of the whole region. Now, Yah said in the scripture that he would stir them up. He would rouse them. He would incite them. Now, not getting too deep, but the Ukrainian president, I can't think of his name, is a puppet for America and Israel and primarily NATO, which is really they're all together anyway. He's a puppet. And you won't believe the things that NATO and Ukrainians do and America do. They have war games in Ukraine. You know, military practices and stuff. And once again, why do you practice for? I'm preparing for something. So now I'm on the Russian border. What you got all the missiles and tanks over there for? What you doing all that stuff for? Please stop. Stop. But you keep on. You keep on. You keep on. You keep on. We had this incident here that happened, I guess, 2 Sundays ago. What they won't tell you is that the Russians and the Ukrainians had like a little deal. We'll let you through. We will let you through as long as you radio us. And just, we'll agree and we will let you through. They've been doing this for a while. But on that day, that particular day, a week before Hanukkah, they did not radio. So you got the Russians saying, hey, radio in, hey, beep in, hey, radio in, hey, beep it. They did it for 5 hours. You ain't find it on mainstream media. You gotta go on like alternative news to get that. For 5 hours. So you know what they did? They rammed their boats in this ship. They boop, 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 bust on them, jumped on the ship. We had an agreement. But the media, to know bad Russians, Putin. I ain't saying these dudes is angels. What I'm saying is, the policy, the wickedness of the kings, the back and forth, the corruption, the sneakiness, the backbiting, the deception, to go to war, to start things, to convince, to prove a point, the crafty devices of the wicked one, who's behind all things. Because you can't have something change unless you got a war. If we had war, we must make a little money too. Right, this is where all the contractors make their money, people that sell weapons, right? That's why when you watch these action movies, G.I. Joe and Transformers, yeah, man, I sell weapons. They say in the movie, I sell weapons, I'll get paid. What you buying weapons for? To use them. Russia just openly attacked Ukraine. That could mean their war will get worse. That was the day right as it happened. Why attack? So everybody's looking at, not perfect or not whatever, but anyway, so that has been going on right before Hanukkah. Let's turn to Zechariah 12. Turn to Zechariah 12. Like I did that, I'm about to sound my sound effect.
Yeah.
Dudes, they was like, hey man, stop. We ran y'all for 5 hours. We know your stuff works. They rammed that ship. Boom! Boop, 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 boop. Busting on them. Jumped on the ship, took captains. Oh, Russia, we're gonna put more sanctions on you. We're gonna take more of your money. We're gonna freeze. When they say I'm gonna put sanctions on your country, I'm gonna freeze your money. Now imagine someone freezing your bank account. How mad would you be? So think about this, as a sovereign nation, another nation or a group of nations freezes your money. How mad would you be? You froze my money? Just think about you and your account. You got your card with the chip on it, and you can't use it. Sorry, Mr. Cunningham, your stuff been frozen. Big old wide shoulders and back. Better raise his hands up and boom. They're gonna register broke. Then we gotta get the brother out of jail. They gonna call police. They gonna pull straight on them. They see them back and shoulders. They gonna pull their guns out.
I'm gonna stop working out.
No, brother, we need you strong. We need you strong. We all gotta be strong. We gotta have, I think my wife said earlier this week about exercising helps your mind. You gotta
Yes.
start reading more. Read your Bible every day.
That's what you.
Read other books. Exercise your mind. Exercise your body. We might be in a situation, man, we ain't got no power.
Yeah,
You gotta, look,
that's right.
be strong enough to do some work in the garden. Ms. Bell was talking about that. So now I know my greens, I know how to do my greens now. I messed them up this year. Y'all wouldn't, I get them right next year. Y'all learn how to start doing stuff.
Amen.
Some of this stuff ain't brain surgery. You just can't be lazy.
Come on.
You easy kill.
That's
It's
right.
an easy kill.
Preach.
Right.
Yeah, mercy. I tell y'all Zechariah.
Yes, well.
Okay, wrong chapter. Zechariah 12, 1. And the burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith the Lord, which stretches forth the heavens and layeth the foundation of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him, the power. He's like, allow me to introduce myself.
Come on.
Huh? I stretch forth the heavens, I laid the foundation of the earth, I formed the spirit within you. I'll introduce myself. Behold, I'll make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about. You don't believe what happened not too long ago. President Trump made a declaration and said Jerusalem is the capital of Israel and we're moving the embassy. Remember we talked about that in here? Marking that, 70 years since it was the war, the 6-Day War maybe? Marking 70 years. That was done on purpose, by the way. And the nations were what? Heated. Iran, Palestinians, China. Folks was mad. They're moving their embassy now. So the stage is being set for what we're reading. You live in this era, man. I don't think we live in this era. I'm about to pop some head today. I'm gonna show you today. I'll make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all people round about, and when they shall be in the siege, both against Judah and against Jerusalem, and in that day will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All their burden in themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth be gathered together against it. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, every horse, and his rider with madness, and I will open mine eyes upon the house of Judah. So y'all gonna be at war. We see that? I'm gonna smite every horse with astonishment and his rider with madness, and I'm gonna open my eyes upon who? The house of Judah. And smite every horse of the people with blindness. So y'all gonna be about that work. But just like in days of old, when the wars are going on, what you doing? What are you doing? When all this other stuff going on around you, are you walking straight? Spirit, you walking by the flesh. If you're fighting, are you fighting the spiritual battle, or are you out there with the weapons of flesh? Which one you doing?
Yeah.
So his eyes gonna be open. I didn't say it, he said it. 2 Thessalonians. 2 Thessalonians. Second Thessalonians 5, 5th chapter.
First.
1. 5 and 1. 2 Thessalonians 5.
There is one.
No,
First.
you mean
Mm-hmm, thank you. Thank you. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 1. But of the times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write to you. I ain't got to talk to you about that. Right? That should be us now. We should be able to point the times and seasons when the reason you talk about it. We should just know, like animals. So why are these squirrels running around every time you walk outside? What are squirrels? Gathering nuts, storing them. That's what they're doing. I don't care about the fence. I don't care about these leaves in your yard, Vaughn. I'm going to find these nuts. I'm going to find them. I'm going to store them up. Because I understand the times and the seasons. I ain't going to be caught slipping. That's why when you see a wasp or something right now, they flying like they drunk. Because it's like, it's not the time to be out, but it sure is nice today. And they flying around and they drunk, they stuck, because they understand times and seasons. So Shaul is saying, look, but the times and the seasons, I ain't never really talking about that. We should be like that too. For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so comes as a thief in the night. For when they say peace and safety, then sudden destruction comes upon them as travail upon a woman with child. They shall not escape, but ye, brethren, are not in darkness. You're not in darkness. Even if it's the season where there's not a lot of light, you're still not in, did we catch that? Even if it's the season where there's not a lot of light, you're still not in darkness. Because of what's what? Within. So we go back to Sukkot, the kingdom of Elohim. It is within you.
Yes, sir.
Power comes out from you because of the kingdom of Elohim. It's like the Ark of the Covenant is within you. Because within the temple, there was the Ark, the Holy of Holies. If you touch it, you're dead man. Ye are the children of the light, and children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober, for they that sleep, sleep in the night. They are drunken, they be drunken in the night. Okay. G20, we just had that, right? You just had the G20 meeting last week here? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, the G20, the big meeting where all the leaders come together and they talk about trade and economics and making the world a safer place for you. Believe it if you want to, because you won't believe what the book said. But when they say peace and safety, one of the headlines: U.S. President Donald Trump and Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping have agreed. I said that pretty good. I know I did. Xi Jinping have agreed to halt new trade tariffs for 90 days. A little truce. We want to try to iron some things out. That's what they say. But we remember what we've been talking about here lately. What your boy say? Jack Ma, Alibaba Group. If trade stopped, war stopped. If trade stopped, war stopped. So they put a little 90-day halt. They put a little 90-day hold on their little stuff between China and the U.S. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. They say it's cool. They say it's cool.
What Japan said too.
We'll see. Right, there they go, the leaders, right? Look at them, looking good and clean. Look at Saudi Arabia. Russia got all the leaders up there. Yeah, using all of them to do his ultimate will.
Wow.
Using all of them, do his ultimate when it's all said and done. Somebody give me Daniel 11:27, please. We almost done. Somebody give me Daniel 11:27. Can't move them hands. The shoulders too wide. They can't move.
And both these sovereigns' hearts are to do evil and speak lies at the same table.
They do what?
They speak lies at the same table.
At the same table. Man, hush your mouth. What's all them leaders? Where they sitting at? What table?
Yeah.
You think they speaking truth? Do you really think they speaking? Read that again, brother.
And both these
Oh,
sovereigns,
look at all these kings and lewd leaders and advisors and powerful men. Do you think they speak? Is there any truth in them? Go ahead, read, brother.
Hearts are to do evil.
So as look at them, do you think that they really want the world to be a better place?
No, they want their country to be a better place.
No. Read.
And speak
And
lies
speaking lies
at the same table,
at the same table.
but do not prosper, for the end is still for an appointed time.
In for a point in time. So we know what Yahshua said when he said in Matthew 24:6, you're going to hear of wars and rumors of wars, but be not troubled, for the end is not yet.
Yep.
So we got to get it cracking. We got to get it cracking. So the nations, and I don't know how all this is, I honestly do not know. But Yah's going to use the nations, and the nations will set up laws. Some of these laws will establish the saints. Some of these will hunt the saints down in cold blood. But Yah's going to use them. Point being, going back to this time of year, back in BC time, before we got to AD time, will you obey me and be about me and ignore all the other noise? Ignore the noise. They didn't have Twitter, this, and all the noise. Will you block out all the noise? So y'all's going to use the nations, their laws to establish the saints, to go after the saints. Because not all the saints are going to be saints. We read that last night. But there was some who were Yehuda all the way through and was dirty as a rag, cleaning up garbage within. Dirty on within. They were dirty. Same countrymen. Dirty. That's why we got to be able to identify each other by the Spirit and know them by their fruits. Donald Trump signs the 400 Years of African American History Commission Act. It's called H.R. 1242. Google, look it up for yourself. Check it out. President Donald Trump. That was earlier in the year. Trump signs 400 Years of African American History Commission Act into law. What's it going to be about? And we'll find out. Could be something good. Could be. Recognizing that what I've looked at isn't looking anything too bad. But like I said, but they make that stuff so long. I'm not going to read all that. Still got stuff to do. Got places to be. But 400 years recognizing. Okay? So we'll that is to be continued. But there's some other stuff that's happened. I'm going to take care of y'all. Listen up.
I want to thank you all for being with us today because we will be starting a day of prayer Sunday. It's going to be very special, and I don't know.
What did you do?
Nothing.
Brother.
Why the channels for that?
That wasn't me.
No, sorry.
Just give it to her, man.
If it's going down, I'm sorry.
And in fact, the people of our world,
Go ahead and let's get back, man.
Yeah, I am.
You got the volume on yours, Jerry.
I just want to thank you all for being with us today because we're going to be starting a day of prayer, and it'll be on Sunday. It'll be a very special day, and I don't know when this was done last, but it's been a long time ago. Is that a good statement? It's been a long time ago. So I'm going to sign it, and then a few of the folks will say a few words, and Pastor Jeffress will say a prayer for not only the people so affected, so horribly affected by Hurricane Harvey, but for the people of our nation, and in fact, the people of our world. Okay? So this is Dr.
So the national day of prayer.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying you gotta go to church on that day. You just saying
Not yet.
you need to pray. You gotta pray.
He almost had me with the prayer part.
So, laws establishing the saints, the laws exposing the saints. I don't know. I don't have an answer for that. I do know this. How you like it. That's all I can tell you. Right. Be a good person. Don't steal. Don't be a liar. Don't be a hater. Don't be evil. Do good to your brother, to your sister. Do good to the stranger. Do good to the poor. Walk right, talk right. Open the door, smile at people. Them things you can control. Them will make your temple glorious. Yah will be pleased. There'll be a hedge around you. You can be safe in a time of chaos. Now that was itty bitty. Breaking news, Israel news. Sanhedrin invites 70 nations to the Hanukkah dedication of altar for Third Temple. November 29, 2018. The people that walked in darkness have seen a brilliant light. Oh, those who dwell in the land of gloom, light has dawned. Isaiah 9 and 8, the Israel Bible. The Sanhedrin has invited 70 nations to come to the Hanukkah dedication of the altar for Third Temple. Oh, it's here pretty soon. You got the altar ready. Got the kohanim ready. They got the offerings ready. They got the menorah ready. And they're going to have the nations present as they dedicate the altar as Hanukkah closes. In your time. It's closer than you think. They're going to dedicate the altar in a few days. Heaven has declared it. If you ain't right. Remember we showed a couple weeks ago about the snake and the pigeon, and they took it as the Mashiach is coming. They're moving full speed. They need the temple so the Mashiach can come in. They need the temple so the Mashiach can physically walk in. Oh, y'all, master chess play. He's super good. Let's read some of this. The Knesset Sanhedrin released a declaration to 70 nations for Hanukkah to be read at a ceremony in Jerusalem on the last day of the holiday. Here in a couple of days, people. In your time. In your time. The ceremony will include the consecration of the stone altar prepared for use in the Third Temple. The declaration is intended as an invitation to the nation to participate in the temple and to receive its blessings. I wonder if all these nations are like, Judaism nations. I wonder if they're all Messianic. I wonder if they're all Christian. I wonder if it's just anybody who wants to come, you come on. Why is it 70 nations? Would that sound familiar to you? What does 70 nations sound familiar in your scripture, in your Torah, in the Bereshit?
That sounds like,
Go ahead, Bob.
oh man, it sounds like Noah and his uncle and
His
all
boys.
of, when he told him, he said that you can't do all of this, so you got to set people. And when Noah and his
you
boy,
talking about?
wait a minute, no, that's not it. That's not it. I'm
Yeah.
tripping.
You
Okay,
said
no,
Noah, you real hot.
No, yeah.
The
yeah.
table of nations.
Yes,
Ham, Shem, and Japheth, and then their children.
absolutely.
The table of nations.
Yeah,
70 in total.
yeah.
And
I
they're
know.
inviting how many?
70. Wow.
This is in your time. You're alive. And the altar is being dedicated. At one point, on a Hanukkah, they tore up the altar and put junk on it. The declaration is intended as an invitation to the nations to participate in the temple and to receive its blessings. I want to bless you. The altar is currently in the form of loose stone bricks ready to be transported to the Temple Mount, and stored in a manner that will enable them to be transported and assembled at a moment's notice. When complete, the altar will be a square 9 feet on each side and 5 feet tall, and includes a ramp for the priest to ascend. The decision to prepare the blocks and all details of their composition is a result of long study performed by the members of the Sanhedrin in conjunction with the Temple Institute. Okay? The Temple Institute be on. I get a lot of stuff from them. The stones are made of aerated concrete and are fit for use in the temple. There are plans underway to prepare a new set made of actual stones, which are considered the ideal material from which to build the altar. A full dress reenactment of the Korban Olah Tamid, the daily offering, will take place. The Kohanim, Jewish men of priestly caste descended from Aaron, wearing biblically mandated garb, will lead the ceremony. The location is still unclear, as the Jerusalem municipality is weighing security concerns that a Jewish ceremony of this sort will precipitate Muslim violence if performed in the view of the Temple Mount. Also at question is whether the Kohanim will ritually slaughter a lamb, will ritually slaughter a lamb, will ritually slaughter a lamb. This is in your time. When you say it was to mock? Or whether prepared meat will be bought. Though the Sanhedrin has received all necessary permits from the government, organizations in charge of slaughtering animals, they are still waiting for the municipality to approve the part of the ceremony. In either case, the meat will be roasted on the newly consecrated altar. This is in your time. Oh, this is in your time. I used to watch wrestling. Aaron did too. One of my favorite wrestlers, he was a big dude. It's Vader time. And every time he get ready to come out, it's time. It's Vader time. It's time. It's ya time.
And he used to get this up too. I'm just saying.
The priest will also perform the Korban Menka, in which the grain offerings that accompany the Korban Tamid are offered along the Nesakim wine libation. Pouring out of alcohol, yeah. Right there in your Torah. A large menorah will be part of the ceremony. Rabbi Hillel West explained the significance of the ceremony being held on the last day of Hanukkah. According to Jewish tradition, the tabernacle and Aaron the priest were consecrated for service on the last day of Hanukkah.
Wow.
Rabbi Weiss explained to Breaking Israel News, it is fitting that we should invite the nations to a ceremony since Hanukkah is about bringing light to the darkness. The Jews were meant to do this for the entire world. He said, quoting the prophet Isaiah. For he has said, it is too little that you should be my servant, and that I raise up the tribes of Yaakov and restore the survivors of Israel. I will make you a light of the nations, that my salvation may reach the end of the earth. Isaiah 49:6. The Jews were brought back to Israel for the purpose of spreading the light to the nations, Rabbi Weiss said. We just been reading stuff about Yah bringing Israel back and bringing Judah back. Is this what it is, or is there a great deception? Also, some Vaughn women will do. I hear something that sound messy. As the sages instructed the Jews to pray every day, a new light will shine upon Zion, and we should all merit this light very soon. The light is Torah, the light of Torah which comes from Zion, which reveals the hidden aspects of God. The ceremony, this is where it gets very interesting. The ceremony will also be part of the Sanhedrin's ongoing effort to establish a Bible-based international organization to replace the United Nations. Are you conscious? Let me read that again. The ceremony will also be part of the Sanhedrin's ongoing effort to establish a Bible-based international organization to replace the UN. Remember, Mystery Babylon is a system, and it's got its tentacles in everything. From money to religion to education to government. It's in everything. It's a system. So the Sanhedrin is trying to replace the United Nations, which is, oh, remember what your boy Jack Ma said, globalization will not be stopped. It will happen. Remember the picture of all the leaders at the table?
Yeah.
Read Daniel 11:27. But they were talking, they were supposed to be doing like peace treaties, but they was talking slick to each other. And you mean to tell me that China and America and all these nations that got beef, they're all of a sudden buddies now? I love it. Remember that Barney? I love you, you love me. To replace the United Nations. To this end, they charged Rabbi Yoel Schwartz, president of the Sanhedrin's court, for the Noahides, with preparing a declaration that would describe the spiritual basis for the organization. Rabbi Schwartz is one of the most respected Torah scholars of this generation, a prolific writer and winner of the Moskitz Prize for Zionism.
Get out.
At least I let you know. At least I get information. If that don't put no fire up on you behind, I don't know what else will. Maybe an angel popping up and slapping the soul up out of it. And then the same angel got to slap the soul back in. And we ain't, that's not how we got to walk. You in it to win.
Amen.
You know, there are a lot of Orthodox Jews of Judaism who don't even, they have hatred for Zionism. And here we have Zionism, the Sanhedrin, saying, let us help lead the charge to bring religion to the world. And let's invite everybody. So can you imagine the altar being there and a sacrifice going up, and you got people who believe who knows what in your era, in your time, in your day. So I said last night, you're closer than what you think. Closer than what you think. Jeremiah 32. And I really was at the end. Just some of that that's just too good. I mean, that's just, wow. Now I found a video and the woman was talking about it, but she was a little bit too Sunday, so I wasn't gonna play it. I ain't gonna make y'all get sick, get a headache, you know. But some of it, what she was saying was on point. She was talking about a deception and America's, the Protestant, the main Protestant leaders will probably be there. John Hagee, your T.D. Jakes, like the big wigs, they got their own jet and fly over there to be talking to the Lord on jet. Another jet, Lord? Well, I can handle it. What? Like you cut? Anyway, Jeremiah 32. Behold, I will gather them out, in 37, sorry. Behold, I will gather them out of their countries whither I have driven them in my anger and in my fury and in great wrath, and I will bring them again into this place, and I will cause them to dwell safely. Remember we was talking about, my wife was breaking down the mind that you can't really learn.
Accessibility shortcuts. Items voice guide off.
I ain't do it. If you're not safe.
Yeah.
So Yah says, I'm gonna bring them where they'll be in safety, and they shall be my people. I will be their God. I will give them one heart and one way that they may fear me forever, the good of them and their children after them. Right now, I wonder, it can't be talking about now, but see, they're there now. They're bringing them back now. Man, they got the biggest gay beach and gay parade in the world. I'm so confused. Help me, I'm confused. Child pedophilia is very high there. I ain't trying to put the business out there, but it is high there. Okay. And so is skin cancer or melanoma, but I digress. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them, and I will not turn away from them to do them good, but I will put my fear in their hearts that shall not depart from me. Yea, I will rejoice over them to do them good. I will plant them in this land assuredly with my whole heart and with my whole soul. Think about that. Y'all said, I'm going to do something. I said, I put my heart in this.
Amen.
I put my soul in this. Remember a couple, who was talking about when the angel was talking to Ezra, he was like, bro, are you saying that you care more for the Israelites than Yah? Remember when we went through that? Like he's the creator. There's no way you love them more than he do. You crossing on dangerous lines. Go back and go to sleep. And we'll come back and we'll talk later, in about a week or so. So Yah has a desire to do things the right way. And I think why I said my takeaway from Torah class was that redemption is not going to be how we think it's going to be. If this is truly a love story, and I do believe it is, if this is a love story, we know true love, man. You cannot calculate true love. You can't calculate true love. You don't, you know, it's just, you can't explain true love. You can't calculate it, you can't Bible code it. You know, as much as I love it, we can't go into the Hebrew and try to, no, that's not how it's going to be. It's going to be a true love. I'm going to come and get you. And who is you? All those who love me. If you love me, I got room for you. But some of you don't love me. And I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to cut you off. But some of you love me, and I love you, and I'm going to come get you. And it's not going to be how you think. I'm going to sweep you off your feet. And that's what women say they dream, man. Romeo, he came and he swept me off my feet. What do you think y'all shoe were going to do? He going to sweep you off your feet. You're going to be ready. You're going to be ready. So this time, this season, as we talked about, was a training ground. Right? We talked about on Wednesday night about fighting a good fight. You got to fight your fight. Don't be living in the past and you know, y'all don't care about you dressing up in garb or different kind of garb and stuff, that silly stuff. You know, man, where your heart at? He dealt with people who lived it, and their heart was not right. So there's one question echoed from the Shamayim. Is your heart circumcised? Yes, son of Jacob. If your heart is circumcised, I'm with you. If not, you're still hard. I got to beat it out of it. So that's all. No, I went over. But that's so that is our message for today. All praise to Yah. All praise for inspiration of this word. The word is an inspirator. The word is good for our correction, for our rebuke. It's good for us to get right. It's good for the word to recharge us, to get us through another week. This word is for everybody, myself included. Okay? So we give all praise to Yah. And we just pray for everybody. There are some who are not here, or some who are sick, or some who got issues going on, and it is what it is. We just pray that Yah will be with all the saints of the Most High. And you know if you're a saint, if you walk in this walk. Okay? And you're staying away from the Lamb, Yahshua HaMashiach. And I pray that we be a people that we're continually led by the Spirit. And regardless of all the things that's going on in our time, right, that we are prepared, that we are ready, that we stay under the wings of his covering, that we stay under his hedge, right? That we don't walk out from the fence where he's got it. He's a good shepherd now. He's a good shepherd. We got to be better sheep. He's a good shepherd. We got to be better sheep. And he made a way. He made a way for me. He made a way for you. Now, are you ready, Hebrew? Are you ready? Are you ready in the back? Are you ready? Are you ready? Whoever in the kitchen, are you ready? If you're watching, are you ready? This game time. The train of Yah is moving, with or without you. Have your ticket ready. Have your bags packed. Well, I don't know. It's supposed